Hey guys, we have a very exciting guest with us today. We have Henry Washington, who is the co-host of the Bigger Pockets podcast. Just became in January, I believe.
Yep.
Um, he also is one of the top real estate coaches in the country with his Road to the Closing Table mastermind.
Yes, sir.
And you've now converted that also into some live events. You just finished one in Dallas, which is pretty cool.
I did.
He's also actually a real estate investor himself. And so all of this stuff that he's doing and promoting is real life stuff where he's out doing deals every day. We manage a lot of his long-term rentals for him, so I'm very familiar with a lot of what he's doing. And he's also doing some short-term rentals that he manages on his own.
Yep.
And he is doing about 20 flips a year. Is that accurate?
It's pretty close.
Okay, so we have a real treat for all of you out there watching today. We have a really exciting guest who's pretty big-time real estate guy. And I hope you guys learn a lot from him.
Awesome.
So thanks for being with us.
Happy to be here, man. This is pretty cool. I'm glad you're doing this. Glad you finally took me up on my advice to start making content.
Yeah, well, I need more training.
Yeah.
I need more education from you on that.
That's all right. We'll give you a crash course.
So speaking of that, you developed, and I'm skipping my steps here, but you developed a pretty substantial following online.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of happened by accident, right? through Bigger Pockets to start with, right? That's kind of how it got started.
Yeah, that's how I originally got some traction, was when I was a guest on the Bigger Pockets podcast. Then people started to, recognize my profile, recognize my brand, and I started to get some growth there. And then I got lucky enough. I say lucky enough because I had no idea what I was doing. Like a couple of years into creating content, I had a couple videos go viral by complete accident, and that also helped.
Well, the story that I remember is that you showed up a day early to a Bigger Pockets conference. Is that right?
Yeah, I did. I went. It sounds very strategic. It was not strategic. It was complete accident. I went to their first conference in Nashville in 2019, and I showed up a day early by accident because I don't plan well. And so I was just walking around, and they were all setting up. So like all the staff was there, and I was getting coffee, and I saw Brandon Turner standing in line to get coffee. And so I went and I just chatted with him, and he said, "Man, I'd love to have you on the podcast." And I thought he was joking, but it turned out he was very serious, because about, say, a couple of months after I got home from the podcast, they had me on, or a couple of months after I got home from the conference, they had me on the podcast.
So now that you're officially a co-host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, you went from being a guest to being a co-host.
Mm-hmm.
Has that changed anything about your day-to-day life? Or do more people notice you when you're out and about, or what?
Yeah. I mean, other than like I have to record 3 to 5 podcast episodes a week now, the day-to-day hasn't changed much. But yeah, I do get recognized. I'll get, usually in like airports, randomly in random cities, I'll get recognized. Like I was standing on Bourbon Street in New Orleans, and somebody was going, they have those really cool like wedding and funeral processions in New Orleans. There was like a big wedding procession, and they were dancing down Bourbon Street, and somebody like stopped dancing and came over to me and was like, "Are you Henry?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then he just, "I love your show," and then kept dancing down the road. So that was pretty weird. Yeah, it's random. It's random. I tell people I'm only cool in like very curated spaces at like conferences,
Nerdy real estate guys.
2 days out of a month in a small space. I'm pretty much a nerd other than that.
Well, you're a distinctive looking guy too. You're big. You're always wearing the hat. You're always wearing the Jordan, the J's, the purple J's.
I am hard to miss.
So if people see you on the podcast, they're going to remember you, I'm sure.
Yeah. That does help with the branding.
So, in watching some of the podcasts, Dave is kind of the data guy, then you're the operator guy.
Yep.
So is there something, or is there a couple of things you can think of that you guys sort of consistently disagree on, either on air or offline?
Um, I think what makes us good together is like fundamentally we believe the same things about investing. And so I think that helps our dynamic. I don't think we have anything like we have huge disagreements on, but like I don't invest in funds. I've never been a big fund investor, and Dave likes funds and does a lot of passive investing in funds. I just prefer hands-on. I love doing real estate, operating real estate. And he, I would say he doesn't love real estate as much as I do, but understands it. And I mean, he enjoys parts of it, but like I'm sure he wants to be much more hands off than I do.
Yeah. Well, he's obviously smart, analytical guy.
Yeah, so
And that's an interesting contrast. Not you're a smart guy too, but I just think you're less data driven
very
and
true.
less, yeah.
Very true. Absolutely.
So you said early on, there's a quote from you that's out there about you don't understand why anybody would want to hear what you have to say,
Yeah,
basically.
I have said that before. Yeah.
After all of these years and all this experience and all this notoriety that you've gained in the real estate space, do you
Yep.
still feel that way, or do you believe that people?
Yeah. Imposter syndrome's a real thing, man. Like, I think what I mean when I say that is like, I don't think I'm doing anything anybody else can't do. Just a dude. Just a dude who bought a house once and realized it was pretty fun and cool and started to do it a whole lot more. I don't think that I'm necessarily smarter than any other investors out there, or I don't do any, I don't have any fancy investing tactics. I tell people I'm just an old boring investor. I find single family and small multifamily houses that need work. I buy them, I fix them up, and then I rent them or I sell them. I'm not, it's boring, but it works.
Oh,
And I love it.
well, we kind of talked about that a little bit about that today at over a drink at the club. We were talking about some of the crazy strategies that like my clients will think is going to
Yeah.
work or make their deal so much more successful or better than it would be otherwise, and how like I know and you know from doing it for so long,
Yeah.
like there's a thing that works. There's
Been
like
working for decades.
yeah, yeah.
It's been
So
working for decades. It's not, you know, and so it's weird to me when either someone recognizes me or people tell me that, something I said helped them, because I'm just like, well, I'm glad, I want to help people. I enjoy helping people, but I'm not doing anything anybody else can't do. This isn't, I tell people this is a very simple business. We can overcomplicate it pretty easily, but the business itself is simple. It's hard, but what you need to do is simple. Buy something, fix it, monetize it at a higher value. It's pretty simple, but there's a lot of bumps in the road. And I think I mean, you've seen a lot of people who invest in real estate, older people who've invested in real estate. And I think the thing I've learned about everybody that's in the business, who's been in the business a long time, it's not that they've found some secret. It's just that when times were good, they were in the game before that and they made money. And when times were bad, they kept enough cash on hand to stay afloat. That's really it. You're not forced out. And if you can stay in, uh, what I love about real estate is it's the only get rich for sure.
yeah,
There's tons of ways to make money, but real estate is the only get rich for sure. If you buy property and you hang on to it long enough, you will become wealthy one day. It may be 10, 20, 30 years down the road, but you will build wealth. And that's pretty cool.
yeah. So I have a mantra that I say over and over again, which is there's only two things that really determine whether you're successful real estate investor or not.
Mhm.
And it's the deal that you buy
Mhm.
and the way you operate the deal.
Yep.
Which is true whether you're doing flip or you're doing a long-term rental, or you're doing a short-term rental.
Yep.
It like who either you operate it well or who you hire to operate it
Yep.
operates it well. And did you buy the deal and structure it well enough on the front end that it can work?
That's it. Yep. I couldn't agree more.
So speaking of this, you've kind of had a change of plan, a pivot in the last like year or so.
Yep.
You spent years telling everybody buy, 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 buy.
Yep.
And now you're kind of a little bit shifting gears and you're consolidating your portfolio and you're making some different decisions.
Yep.
What led to that change? And
Yeah. So I tell people, like, I see investing in three buckets, right? There's a growth bucket. So when you're growing, you're scaling your business, right? But typically in real estate, value add real estate, you're buying something distressed. So there's a growth bucket, there's a stabilization bucket, and then there's a protection bucket. And all of us as investors operate in at least one, but oftentimes two of these buckets, but disproportionately. So when you're starting out, you are probably 90% in your growth bucket and 10% in your stabilization bucket. And you're trying to stabilize your assets. And then at some point you realize, all right, I've bought enough. I need to get these things stabilized so that they're performing like they underwrote them to perform. And so you're focused heavily on that. And then maybe 85% in that, and then 15 or 10% in protection. And for me, protection is paying off the assets, right? Because as long as you've got leverage on them, someone can take them from you. A bank can call your loan due. If something crazy happens, you don't really have control over that. And so my reasoning for investing when I got started was to be able to leave my children assets that produce income that they don't have to spend a ton of time on. And in order for me to execute that plan, like, I need to leave them paid off assets. And the more paid off assets they have, the more optionality they have. I've said this from day one, like, I want my children to be able to be the people they're called to be and not the people they have to be for money. So if there's something that they need or want to do because they feel like it's their passion, it's their calling, and it doesn't produce a lot of income, I want them to have this real estate that produces the income for them. I feel like we all have a calling, we all have something that we're passionate about, but not everybody gets to put their full time or potential into that thing because they got to go to work every day. They got to make money, they got to feed their family, they got to pay their bills. And so if I can solve that problem for them and let them be who they want to be. So that was the thing that's always been in the back of my mind. And then the past couple of years, I just started to look at, like, all right, how much money do I need my portfolio to spit off? And there's two ways to get there. You can keep buying more leveraged assets, and leveraged cash flow is less than unleveraged cash flow. So I can have, 400 leveraged assets, or I can have 50 unleveraged that produce a very similar amount of money. And so I just decided, all right, my goal now is to get my portfolio down somewhere around 50 to 75 units and pay off. I want to get to where, like, at least a third or half of them are paid off. And then I'll decide if I'm going to go buy more. So I'm not saying I'll never grow again or scale again. And I'm also not saying I won't buy a good deal. You put a good deal in front of me right now, probably in a good neighborhood, I'm probably going to buy it.
well, we're going to build some together.
Yeah. I'm definitely excited about building some assets. So yeah, it's just more a function of, like, I want to pay off the assets to produce the income for my kids. Once I feel like, hey, I've got enough for them, or I'm on a trajectory to where I'll have enough for them, if I continue to pay off these assets, then I'll be fine. But who knows, maybe I'll start buying again once I do that.
Well, you'll have the equity to go do it for sure.
Yep.
So, and the cash flow to service whatever debt you
unleveraged cash flow, man. I've got 2 paid off houses right now, and I love the cash flow they produce.
Yeah, real estate. I did a video about that not too long ago about how people are surprised about how little money a leveraged asset actually generates.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. I had a guy who was a teacher, and he came to me and he had bought 2 houses, which he was trying to hire me to manage.
Yep.
And he was, like, ready to quit his teaching job with,
with 2 houses?
With 2 houses with debt on them. And I said, we maybe want to pump the brakes here. This is you might need
to get to more like 22.
Yeah, you might need to get a few more of these to quit your teaching job.
Yeah. I get in trouble sometimes because I'd say cash flow is a myth. It's not real. Like, I want it, like I aim for it. I want to buy an asset that produces it. But for me, cash flow is more just a measure that I bought a good deal. Uh, I found out pretty quickly after buying a few rentals that living off your cash flow isn't the best move if you want to scale. Like if you're only trying to buy a house a year and you want to get 5 total, then yeah, sure, whatever. You can live off your cash flow or you can use your cash flow. Can't live off 5. But I realized quickly after I had several that I'm like, yeah, if I live off the cash flow, A, it's unpredictable because you don't know what's going to break and when and what kind of money you're going to have to take from the cash flow to fix the problem. And B, once you do that, then it's hard to grow. It's hard to scale faster because you've created a business that makes money and then you took the money away from the business. And so how does the business grow if you take all the money out of it?
Well, it's the same thing like with somebody who invests in the stock market portfolio.
Yeah.
If they suck all the dividends
All the
out
gains.
of it instead of letting them roll back into the portfolio and compound over a long period of time, that's almost every investment.
Yep.
It's like the great thing about real estate is at least sometimes you can force large amounts of equity appreciation on the front end of a real estate deal.
Yep.
Obviously, you could get lucky and buy a stock at a low price that somehow shoots up to a high price, but
Yeah.
you
It's
have
not in your control.
you have very little levers you can pull to make that happen.
Yep.
But with real estate, if you're smart and you buy the right deal and you understand how to run that deal,
Yep.
You can create substantial chunks of equity in short periods of time.
Yeah, the more I started to invest, the more I learned different ways to actually, I guess, find money that you can use. Like, I mentioned the 3 buckets. The 3 buckets are how I see real estate, but there's like, I envision this like a line across those 3 buckets. It's the one thing you need to make sure all those 3 buckets you can operate in, and that's money, right? So you need some sort of active income. If you truly want to be able to grow and scale, so you don't have to suck all the cash flow out of your business. And so that's why I've focused more on flipping and scaling the flipping business, because I flip houses and then I can use that money and I can live off of that money. And then I can use that money to also help pay down assets and I don't have to touch my cash flow. So we try not to use the cash flow for life.
Yeah. It's smart. We've definitely shifted more towards how do we invest to grow our active income. Whereas I think for a long time, we've been focused on how do we grow our equity and our net worth in our asset and less focused on the income.
Yep.
And we've kind of shifted gears a little bit too. So a little similar, maybe a different route, but similar. So what is your actual buy box right now, 2026? What kind of deal you see that you're just like, I'm buying it?
Yeah. My ideal property is probably a 2 to 8 unit building in a path of progress neighborhood that I can get at 50 to 60 cents on the dollar is probably like, that's the sweet spot. You put one of those in front of me, it's going to be hard for me to say no, not to buy it. I also love, like, from the single family perspective, my ideal asset is like a 60s or 70s build home on I kind of like both. I like concrete foundation, but I also like crawl spaces because it's very easy to add value on crawl space. You can add bathrooms and bedrooms a whole lot easier. Well, you can add plumbing a whole lot easier. But ideally like a 60s, 70s build, something that probably hasn't been touched very much or remodeled very much, because way less problems inside the walls in those in the once you get up to in the 60s or 70s. Usually pretty cosmetic rehabs, usually pretty they don't look very cookie cutter, so you can have a lot of fun in those if you're into flipping houses. So those are fun. The super old houses are,
well, you don't deal with as much of the foundation problems and some of the environmental, like the asbestos and lead and things you may have to pay a lot of money to remediate.
60s 70s build flip, I'll do that all day long. That's a sweet spot.
What about like square footage? So I know this is something that I've found. I don't want to buy a deal that's a small square foot property.
Really? That's interesting. I like small square footage.
Like on a house though, like if you're gonna flip it or you're gonna
dude,
renovate to rent.
one bedroom sell like hotcakes, and I can get it
Really?
for nothing. Yeah. I don't want anything over 3,000 square feet. Really over like 2,700 square feet.
Well, I don't want huge because
Yeah.
that's costly to renovate.
Yeah.
And your price per square foot
Yeah.
on a resale or a refinance goes down a little bit the bigger it is. But it, like, to me, it's got to be like 1,100 square feet or more. I don't really like it.
Every sub 1,100 square foot house I've ever flipped sold in minutes.
Because they're cheap.
Northwest Arkansas.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
The
they're
housing
probably
is so
the
expensive.
cheapest thing on the market in Northwest Arkansas that's
Yep.
like move-in ready, I
Yep.
would imagine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't mind the small ones. The catch is you can't be small and have no yard. Like if you can get a 1-2 bedroom under 1,000 square feet and there's some yard, it's gone.
Or have really substantial renovations.
Yeah.
Because that's where I think a lot of my deals are really heavy construction, whether it's new construction or fairly heavy renovation.
Yeah.
And those small ones, you still have almost the same cost
Yeah.
on, like, if you're doing like HVAC, plumbing, electrical, stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta get the small ones dirt cheap. You gotta
Yeah.
pay almost nothing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the least amount of money you paid for a house?
$2,500.
Dang, you got me beat. I paid 22,000 for a house once. Yeah.
Well, I started in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I started buying in 08.
So that was like the average cost of a home in Pittsburgh.
Still is. No. And I started buying in 08 too.
Oh, you were stealing them in 08.
I bought a bunch for under 10,000.
I believe that.
And I actually didn't have I didn't realize I wasn't smart enough back then to realize I could get money if I had a good deal.
Yeah.
So like a lot of those
You
deals,
pay cash.
well, I did back then, but a lot of those deals I was also flipping them to my clients, my third-party management clients.
Yeah.
We'd do which we still do a little bit of this same thing. It's kind of our main business, but and then I would do some renovation work for them and make some fees, and then I would make small little property management fees, but they made all the money.
Yeah.
And I could, Renee and I have talked about this.
So you wouldn't found all these cheap houses and then let somebody else make all the money?
I mean, we bought a lot of them too, but like I always thought if I didn't have the money, I shouldn't do the deal until I figured it out, right? Yeah. And so I passed on a lot early.
Yeah.
We'd be a whole lot richer if I just bought all those deals.
Yeah. And man, I had the woulda, shoulda, couldas too. I moved to Northwest Arkansas in 2010. So it was just post the boom, the big decline. And I remember just seeing neighborhoods of half constructed neighborhoods because people just pulled out and left. And there were lots for sale and houses were cheap. And God.
Too bad you didn't buy all those.
I didn't know anything about that. And even when I got started in 2017, I remember to this day walking this very specific house in Bentonville, and they wanted like $3,000. Like we just couldn't meet. Like they were at my they were above my max, and I was so new. I still tell my students this. I'm like, look, you hit your max. That's it. You don't go over it. That's the way you stay disciplined. But man, $2,000 and $3,000 walking away from a deal that's, if I'd have bought those then, I'd have gladly paid them the 2 or 3 they were looking for more. Hindsight's 20/20 with real estate, man. It happens all the time. You're gonna pass up on deals. I think you have to have a formula to stick to. But man, sometimes it hurts when you see the appreciation in property.
It always usually feels dumb.
Yeah.
10 years ahead.
Yeah.
I actually think Renee and I went down to the Bentonville Square. We went hiking once when we first started dating in Bentonville. We went down and hung around and had lunch at the Bentonville Square. And back then I was even more obsessed with real estate than I am now. Yeah. And I remember us driving around looking at the houses around that area. You could buy these little houses for
HUD houses all over the place.
70,000, 80,000. People are now buying those things for $400,000 and tearing them down and building a mansion.
Yeah, it's 1.2 million now.
I mean, it's wild. That market's wild.
But yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Downtown's overinflated. I stay away from that.
So speaking of that, that's a good lead in. So everybody is, right now, everybody is kind of on edge with a lot of things in the economy and the market, and you hear a lot of kind of doom and gloom crash predictors. And I guess, first of all, what's your take on the market, where it is, where you obviously none of us know, but where it's heading? And then what would you tell that first year investor who's maybe a coaching client of yours right now with those conditions?
I'll ask you these questions. This is what I usually ask people when we talk about things like this. So, is the real estate market weird and uncomfortable right now? Yeah, it is. And so if the market is weird and uncomfortable and a little bit scary, and so what people think is when they see that, they think, well, maybe I should wait until there's a little more stability, till there's some indicator that things are better, right? They don't even know what that indicator is, but they just know it feels weird right now. And so people don't want to act. But if you ask that same person, if you bought a house today, in 5 years, do you think that house is worth more or less than it is today? 99% of them are going to say it's worth more. So even though the market is weird or uncomfortable, wouldn't it make sense to buy now? And also, yeah, the market's scary, it's weird, it's uncomfortable, but like, isn't that what you want? Like, as an investor, there's a golden rule that all investors live by. It doesn't matter if it's real estate, stocks, crypto, right? The golden rule of investing is buy low and sell high. And so if you're gonna invest in something, you need an opportunity to buy low. But you don't just get to buy low because, like, if you think of the stock market, a stock doesn't go on sale just because
You buy low
the
'cause
shareholders are like,
there's problems.
there is going to be a sale this week. We're giving everybody a sale on stock. No, there's a problem or a perceived problem. It doesn't have to be a real problem.
Yeah.
There can just be a perception of a problem that causes things to go down. So right now, that's where we are in real estate. There's a perception that there's problems. Some of those are real and some of those are not real, but it doesn't matter. All that matters is how do people perceive the market. People perceive the market as uncomfortable and scary, and that creates discomfort and discomfort and problems create opportunities to buy at a discount. So if you want to be a real estate investor, you're saying this is the kind of market that I want to invest in. So when people say, I want to invest in real estate, but things are weird right now. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's why you should invest in real estate. Everybody who makes money in real estate buys in times like this, and they sell in the opposite. So this is exactly what you asked for as an investor. Some uncertainty, some problems. Now your job is to figure out what opportunities have been created because of the problems that exist, and then figure out how to buy deals within that sweet spot. And if you can do that and you can hold on to that asset, you'll look like a genius in 5 to 10 years. I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying it's not scary. It's going to be scary, but this is how you make money. I've found such good deals over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Larger spreads than I've seen in several years.
People are negotiable right
now. People are starting, and yes, the market is uncomfortable, but the thing is, the real estate market's been uncomfortable for about 3 years now. We saw a dip in buyer activity because people were like, this is weird. I don't know what's happening. I'm just going to chill out. Right. So, less buyers, and even people were not selling. They were staying in place. They had low interest rates from the COVID boom. But 3 years later now, like, life happens and people, there's craziness on the news every 5 minutes. People are numb to it. And so now I think there's a lot more comfortability with the level of uncomfortable, and people are just starting to transact again. So we're getting amazing spreads. But why are we getting good spreads? Because we're actively looking in an uncomfortable market.
Yeah, I mean, those are all, I think, very salient points. If I look back on my entire lifetime, you start like in the early 90s when I'm old enough to be conscious of what's going on. and you had like the Gulf War, and you had like one of the few years in the last 150 where real estate actually did go down in value in the early 90s. And then, you fast forward not even a decade and you have the dot-com bubble burst. And then you fast forward not even another decade and now you have the housing crisis. And then you fast forward not even another decade and you have COVID. I mean, people have a reason to be scared all the time.
All the time.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. And what I said recently on another podcast that I was on was, well, I feel better investing in assets where it's a physical asset. I can predict the amount of income that the asset will produce, which then I know if I'm using debt, what debt it can service. And I can be conservative about all those things, and I can control that versus like investing in the AI hype driven stock market right now, where I have zero control. And a lot of those companies produce no income. Like when I listen to Warren Buffett talk, I've read every book that man's ever written. I've watched every video he's ever put out probably. And, that's what he talks about is turning every investment into like a bond. What income does it produce, and what capitalization rate or equity multiple are you going to pay on that income that it produces? And that's how you value an investment. And I can do that with real estate. I can't, especially in the way the market works now. I mean, SpaceX just went public as the 5th largest market cap company in the world. They lost $5 billion last year. I would be way more scared of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I love real estate. It is a tangible asset. It solves a human need. And all the AI in the world is not going to stop people from needing a roof over their head. So it feels to me like the safest of the investment options out there. Yeah. Stock market people can argue with me, and that's fine. You can do that, but it is what I know. It's what I understand. But what you said about it is what I love is that I get to control more about the asset, and I can be much more conservative. With stocks, you don't have that. Like, I control where I buy, what I buy, how much I buy, who lives in it. I can predict how much I'm going to make on a monthly basis within a reasonable percentage. Like, it's not a shotgun approach. Like, I can predict within a couple $100 of how much money I'm going to get every month. That's pretty hard to do anywhere else.
There's not many other assets that are that, in my opinion, it's the safest investment you can make. I think the only real argument for stocks over real estate is liquidity. Right. So I can sell a stock tomorrow if it's a publicly traded stock, and I can get my cash if I need to.
Yes. Yeah. It is not that easy in real estate. Ask me how I know.
Me too, man. Anybody who's been a real estate investor at any level, any scale, has ran into a situation where they've maybe got into too many
cash crunch, man.
Too many problematic, deals that they haven't quite finalized the business plan on to get to the point where it's stabilized and covering debt service and doing all that at a time. And it can be a little dangerous and scary if you overextend. And I've done it. I know you've done it. We've talked about it.
I've done it a couple of months ago. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's part of this business, man. If you're in this business for some period of time, you're going to go through a cash crunch phase. It's also part of entrepreneurship. Like, it's not even specifically tied to real estate. It's just part of the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. And like, the name of the game in real estate is, can you not be forced out? Right.
Yeah.
As long as you're not forced out, you're going to look back one day and realize you're in a very comfortable cash position.
Yeah. Don't be forced to sell at a specific point in time. Basically, and be able to hold the assets long enough to see the rent and price appreciation. And I look at every deal like I'm going to own it for 27 and a half to 39. If it's a commercial deal, 39 years. If it's a residential deal, 27 and a half years. And the only time I think I'm going to sell it is when I run out of the tax benefit, and I'm going to probably 1031 it and upgrade into a bigger asset. That's the whole way I look at it.
That is a great way to underwrite deals because it'll keep you out of trouble chasing short-term money.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you have, one way to find great deals, which you obviously have to analyze and underwrite any leads that you get to make sure that they work the way we're talking about them
Yep.
needing to work. You have to find them first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is something I feel like you're really good at.
Yep.
So you've built your portfolio mostly off market.
Mm-hmm.
I know you do occasionally do the scattered offer approach on the MLS. I'll do that sometimes too.
Yep.
But mostly you've built it off market.
Yep.
So kind of walk me and the audience through what that lead machine looks like today.
Yep. So mostly what I do is I use direct mail and pay per click. Those are my two main lead generation sources. So I learned early on that the two problems you got to solve to invest in real estate up front is access to deals. You need to be able to find good deals, and you need to be able to have money to buy them. Right. And if you can solve both of those problems, then scaling becomes a lot easier. I'm not saying you need to go buy everything under the sun. I'm just saying those are the things that are stopping you from scaling. And so if you can solve those two problems, then you scale at your own pace. And I luckily, when I first got started, found a bank who was willing to fund any good deal I found within 70% loan to value. And so I knew immediately if I can go find a deal and I can buy that deal and what I need to purchase and renovate it comes back at 70% of the ARV, then I will have all the money I need. I don't have to put any money into the deal. And so at that point, I was like, all right, how do I find deals at this level of discount? And so that's when I started to research off-market deal finding strategies. And so the way I tell people to approach off-market deal finding strategies is it's just a function of understanding how much of the resource you need for your strategy to work. So the two resources it takes to find deals off market is time or money. Everybody has a different amount of each. You've got to do your budget. How much time do you have to spend looking for deals? And how much money do you have to spend looking for deals? And once you have that budget, that monthly budget of time and money, then it's just a matter of doing the research to figure out which strategy do you have enough of the resource to fund that strategy until it works, because they all work. That's the secret sauce. Is direct mail works, cold calling works, text messages work, voicemails work, knocking on doors works, offers on the MLS work. It just takes, you have to do enough of it to give the strategy time to work. And part of that is going to be market specific. So what I did was I figured out, okay, what are all the ways that I could find deals? And I literally had them written out on a piece of paper in front of me. And I said, with this much money and knowing who I am, which one of these strategies could I do consistently and not have to think about all the time? And so for me, I landed on mail. And I didn't land on mail because I thought it was going to be the best one. I landed on mail because I had enough money to do it until it worked based on my research. And I was comfortable enough with the level of uncomfortability of that strategy. Because to be blunt, off-market deal finding is uncomfortable.
Well, then it's a warm lead.
Yeah.
If you send somebody a letter
Yeah.
and they call you,
Yeah.
now it's somebody telling you they want to sell.
Yeah. They want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Right. They could want to talk to me because they want to curse me out and tell me never send me mail again. But I'm comfortable.
Oh yeah.
Them.
I've had people call me and tell me like,
Yeah, you're
call
the worst
me
person.
every name in the book.
Yeah, you're the worst person on the planet.
Yeah.
So I was comfortable with that strategy. So I had enough money to fund it and I was comfortable. And it still to this day produces results for me for the goals that I have. So I use direct mail. We pull a list every month of sellers within a certain criteria that in my buy box. And then we send direct mail. And then I have a pay-per-click. I have a website, and then we pay for Google ads so that if people search, how do I sell my house fast in Northwest Arkansas, my website comes up and they fill out the website. Those are the two main sources. I don't do cold calls anymore. I was using cold calling third-party companies, but the results have just not justified the cost over the past 2 years. So we've really just focused on mail and pay-per-click.
So I feel like a lot of times when I'm running around with you, you're also maybe looking at apps.
Yeah.
You have like some off-market apps.
Yeah.
Because there's been quite a few times when I've been with you that you're like on your phone,
Yeah.
you get a lead through an app or some kind of
Yeah.
or you find something on an app
Yeah.
and you're calling somebody.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
still a part of your strategy too?
yeah, I'll look occasionally. I don't like buying deals from wholesalers, but so some of the apps I use will be websites where wholesalers have deals under contract and then they'll put them up. So I'll check occasionally to see what's
Yeah.
out there. But I don't like dealing with wholesalers a lot because they try to make way too much money.
Well, there are some really
Yeah.
good ones,
Yeah.
but there are also
Some really good
some
ones.
that have like very unrealistic ARVs, very unrealistic repair budgets on these deals.
Yeah, I ignore all that. I don't care what you say the ARV is, and I don't care what you say the repair budget is. And I don't care how much you're asking for the property. I'm going to offer what I can pay. So I would say what you want to sell your property for is between you and Jesus. It ain't got nothing to do with what I can pay for it. So I'm going to make the offer that makes sense to me. The reason I really don't like working with wholesalers is just because I'm spoiled and I don't like competition. I have to be direct to seller with nobody else involved.
Well, it is a lot easier when you're
Yeah.
the first one you come in contact with the seller of a property because you get the chance to set the expectations.
Yeah.
But if you don't work with brokers, agents, wholesalers,
You're going to miss opportunities.
you're leaving a lot of deals on the
miss
table because
opportunities.
those resources do have. What would you say? 70% of deals probably go through a agent, wholesaler, broker, somebody.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can find great deals through agents. You just have to curate the right relationships and you've got to make offers in volume.
Well, I have off market stuff all the time.
Yep.
You know, and so do other brokers and agents.
And I talk a lot of trash, but I literally was just looking at a contract that I'm signing for a house to buy that I got from a wholesaler like today. So
yeah, I figured you have to.
Buy one today.
You couldn't probably do the volume without, some broker and wholesaler engagement. Yeah.
It's in there for sure.
So you tell a story of finding a house you bought for $45,000 that was worth $275,000 fixed up. I've heard you tell this story before. Does that still happen today? And what would be the best way for those in the audience to find a deal with that kind of a spread?
Yeah, it still happens. I just did one. The last deal I sold, the last deal I put under contract, I sold. We paid $85,000. ARV was $275,000. It needed a $50,000 or $60,000 renovation. We ended up just sticking it on the MLS as it is. Sold it for $175,000. Made $70,000. I didn't do anything. I think I paid $3,000 to have the house cleaned out, junked out. So yeah, they still exist. How you find those deals is you have to be looking consistently. You don't just like if you're just trying to onesie twosie deals. You're not the likelihood of you happening on a deal with that much of a spread is pretty low. The reason I find deals like that is because I have consistent marketing going out, and sometimes you hit a home run. A lot of the times you just hit singles and doubles. So that's not every deal. Before this deal where I made $70,000 and did nothing, the 5 deals I sold before that, I made between $35,000 and $55,000 net profit on them after doing a 6-month renovation, right? So, and that's pretty typical. So if you want to find home run deals, you have to be looking every month. You have to have some consistent flow of leads. So whether that's you on the MLS making disrespectful offers respectfully, or you doing some sort of off-market marketing to generate leads, but it's just the consistency. It's hard to just cherry pick and say I'm only going to buy home run deals, and that's just not the lead flow you're going to get. It's just you have to be disciplined enough to make the offers that make sense. The reason I got those spreads on those deals, it wasn't that I was trying to buy a deal where I could make $80,000. It was that I was being very conservative in my underwriting, and that gave me a number to offer that was probably uncomfortable for a lot of people to offer. But I've kind of curated a way to make disrespectful offers respectfully. And so I rarely have a seller get mad at me for making an offer that is lower than they want. Because I've figured out how to make offers to sellers in a way that they understand why my offer is what it is. I quickly learned in this business that investors never explain to sellers why their offers are what they are. They,
Yeah.
for some reason, try to hide everything. And I don't. I'll literally tell a seller how much money I will make on a deal if I'm
Yeah.
explaining the process. And so I try to just be very transparent with sellers. And when I'm transparent, I can make whatever offer I want to make, and they're not upset about it.
Yeah, so I have done really only accidental flips. Flipping's never been a part of my strategy. It's like I'd buy a house or a apartment building or something, and I'd fix it up, and somebody comes along and says, I want to buy it. And I give them a price, and they say, okay, and it's enough to make me sell it. Usually I'm a long-term guy. But I'm more of an investor than I am a broker, even though I am a real estate broker. And so I've had to learn that too, because as a broker, you have some obligations to somebody who calls you wanting to sell their property. And so what I normally do is I tell them, well, here's what I'll pay for it. And here's all the reasons why you might make this decision to go this direction. And it's usually like convenience, speed, certainty, lack of a process. And then, if we put it on the market, you could have, you could get this much for it, which is more, but it will take probably about this long if we're lucky. And, you're going to go through inspections, and it's going to be contingent on, this person getting appraisal and financing and all these things. And it could take, it could take up to 6 months. And that's assuming we're priced right on the front end.
It's interesting you say that. So I use the same offer strategy. I learned how to make offers like that off market from my real estate agent and other real estate agent investors. Because that's what they would do. They would tell me, well, I go in the house and I'll tell them, here's my price if I list it, but you got to fix it up. Here's my price if I sell it as is, and I'm your agent. You still probably have to spend a little bit of money, and it's going to take longer to sell because it won't be in tip-top shape. And here's my offer for me to buy it as an investor. And I was like, well, why can't I do that as an investor? I just won't be the agent listing it, but I can tell them this is what an agent will want to list it for and what they'll want you to pay. And so that's literally what I do when I make my offers. I give them 3 options. The first 2 options have nothing to do with me. It's the referral from my agent. I say, you can fix this thing up. It's going to cost you 50, 60 grand. It costs you a little less if you do the work yourself, but it's probably going to take you a little longer. So in 8 months to a year, you can sell it for $350,000, or you can do very little work and spend 5 to 10 grand. And in 6 months or so, you can sell it for 250,000, or you can take my offer of 175. You can have your money in 7 days. And when I explain it like that, no one's upset.
They take investor offers because speed, convenience, certainty. Right. Like you and I aren't going to do inspections and back out of the deal later. The retail buyer, that's a chance.
That's a heavy chance.
So when you're deciding, because you kind of have a couple different methods or exit strategies or types of deals you might do. So how and when do you decide, like, am I going to flip this deal? Am I going to hold this deal? Am I going to short-term rental this deal? Whatever it is.
Not till after I close on it, usually. I have an idea beforehand, but that doesn't mean that's what I'm going to do. The way I determine if I'm going to flip it or sell it, other than like location, like there's some properties, like some neighborhoods, like if I find a property in this neighborhood at a certain price point, there's no way I'm going to sell it. I'm going to keep it. But other than that, if it's just a normal buy, the way I look at it is, what is my cash position in my business, and what is my contractor position in my business?
Do you have capacity operationally to do it?
So like if I'm in a position where I need cash sooner than later and I have a good deal, I may look at an exit strategy that doesn't require me to renovate the property, and I can sell it faster. I probably make less money, but I can get to that money sooner. So like when I listed it on the MLS with no work, or I'll call another investor and say, hey, I've got this house on 123 Main Street.
So you're a wholesaler.
Well, I close on it. I close on it. I close on everything.
Okay.
So I'll close on it and then I'll turn around and sell it
You
again.
hate wholesalers. You're kind of a wholesaler.
I close on it, Tyler, which means I own it and then I sell it.
Okay.
I haven't assigned a contract in probably 4 or 5 years.
I've never done that either.
You've never assigned a contract?
No.
Yeah, I have. I've assigned,
I mean,
I've probably done 10 assignments and 7 of them were to the same guy.
I'm a real estate broker, so I just like,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna do it to make a fee, I just
list it.
I do the same thing. I just charge them a commission. I don't, you know.
No, I close on pretty much everything. Cost me more money. Yeah, I pay more in fees, but it's just easier that way. So I'll decide based on if I need money now or if I need money later. And then what is my contractor? Like right now, my contractors are running out of projects. So like this house I'm buying, I could turn around and try to sell it and make a quick 20, but I'm probably just going to do the full renovation because I need to keep my guys busy.
Yeah.
If I don't keep them busy, then they go off and work for somebody else.
Yeah.
Who knows when I could see them again.
We have to think about that all the time too with our in-house construction team is just, we got to keep finding some deals and doing some deals to keep them moving.
So yeah, and I'm not in a cash crunch right now. So it makes way more sense for me to do the long-term fix and flip on that one versus a quick cash approach and it won't make sense as a rental. I wouldn't like that one as a rental. It's a little too old for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of rentals, you used to self-manage all your rental properties.
Yep.
I
found some sucker to do it for me.
And you were somewhat like anti-property manager.
I was very much anti-property
back
manager.
then.
Not somewhat, very much.
I remember hearing some things and that you weren't really in love with property managers.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
So what made you decide? I mean, well, actually, you started investing up here about 6 years ago.
Yep.
And that's when we met.
Yep.
And that's when we first started managing a few properties here for you.
Yep.
And then a couple years after that, we started managing your stuff in Northwest Arkansas too, your long-term stuff, because we don't do short-term. So what was the decision point? What led you to turning over property management?
It was 2 things. I knew I was letting a lot of money slip through the cracks. I was doing my own acquisitions. I didn't have an acquisitions manager at the time, or I just hired one. So I'm doing my own lead gen, my own acquisitions. I was just getting involved with Bigger Pockets. So I'm doing podcasts. I was going around the country and speaking. Like it was just a lot all at one time. And what ended up falling through the cracks was tenant turns.
Yeah.
So someone would move out. I wouldn't even realize they moved out because I'm so busy doing all this other stuff. Before I know it, it's been 3 months and we haven't even started the turn on this unit yet, right? Like it's just, if you're going to operate your properties effectively, like you got to be quick to get to your tenant turns and get those things back on the market. And I didn't have the processes built up to handle that part of my real estate business. I had built processes for flipping. I had built processes for acquisitions, but I just hadn't built anything for property management because it was all easy enough to manage. But when you go from 30 units to 70 units in a year and a half, like that's a lot of volume.
Yes.
30 units, I was pretty comfortable. Like I could handle it. But once we got to like 50 and 60 and 70, you don't just have 2 vacancies anymore. You have, 10, right? Or 5. And
you're pretty much always going to have some vacant once you get to that scale because the leases are just going to be staggered and turning over. And
so I was realizing I was bleeding money. And B, you made a very convincing argument to me when we were having a conversation about it, because I still wasn't sold. Even though I knew I was bleeding money, I was thinking or wanting to hire somebody in-house and train them. And I knew that was going to be a big undertaking, but I just wanted someone who I felt like could follow what I want. But your your pitch to me was, because I didn't want to pay 10% to a property manager who wasn't going to care about my properties. And you said, you're right. I'm not going to care about your properties as much as you are. I'm not you. No one's going to care about your properties as much as you are. That doesn't mean I don't care. It just means it's not my property. You're going to care the most. It's yours. He was like, but you're already paying more than 10% to a property manager. You're just paying it to a bad one. And
I think I have told you were a bad property
yeah,
manager
and I
before.
was like, you're not wrong. I mean, I'm bleeding more than 10% for sure, and I'm managing them. So yeah, I'm paying more than 10% to a bad property manager. After you said that, I was like, okay, I don't have any more arguments. You can do it.
I may have like incidentally offended your wife too when I made that
Yeah,
comment.
it's fine. She knew you were right too. It's fine. Yeah. No, and it freed up a ton of time. I remember like I remember like the second or third month after we turned it over, I was in Hawaii. I was in Hawaii doing Brandon Turner's podcast, and I got a text that someone had driven off the road, veered, and crashed into one of my properties. They crashed through the garage, like the car just was, and I got pictures of a car through a wall inside of one of my units. And I just remember going, send it to Tyler, he'll take care of it. And I sent it to you guys, and y'all filed a claim, and you got it taken care of. I didn't have to think anything of it. And I went, okay, I made the right choice. Because it never failed prior to us doing that. We always had a catastrophic event when we were traveling. It was like clockwork. And I remember when that one hit, I was like, that's terrible. I don't even have to think about it anymore.
Well, you've got property management's a hard business because you've got, these are people's homes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're living in them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the things that happen that are outside of your control as the owner, they don't happen on your time frame.
Right.
Like somebody has a move out on a Saturday or Friday, and somebody should be there turning it.
Yeah.
You know, in our system, somebody's there evaluating, inspecting 24 hours after a move out.
Yep.
Right. Yep. So it can be a 24-hour a day, 7-day a week job. And it's not a very glamorous or high paying job either, right?
Not. And it's not one that's that people really appreciate either.
No, in fact, it's the opposite.
You get owners pissy at you and tenants pissy at you. Yeah, I don't envy you.
You only get the bad stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like rarely does somebody call you and go,
this was awesome.
That was just amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I was very glad you guys handled that car crashing into a house thing for me. But it was great. That's when I knew I made a good decision, because I was like, something crazy off the wall happened.
Well, you had another one catch on fire.
I did have one catch on. That one I almost had a heart attack. But that wasn't from you guys. That was from, I don't know if I ever told you.
You didn't know if you had insurance.
Yes.
I know you didn't know if you had
that. When I tell you, that was the closest I ever came to passing out when I learned about a problem at a property, because that was just a weird situation.
Because you had bought that one recently.
I bought it on the road.
And you had actually bought like a bunch right there in succession, and that was one of them.
Yep.
And
I was on the road. My insurance guy was out of town. And I remember I was at a mastermind, and I was like, I don't remember if we ever placed a policy, because I emailed my insurance guy. I got his out of office, and I didn't remember if I followed up with his assistant to get the policy in place. And luckily I had, but I didn't realize I had. And I remember when you said it, your team called me and said it burned down. I was like, oh, I didn't get insurance on that one.
Well, we were nervous for you too. You know, I mean, because we want you guys to be, we want you and all of our clients to be successful.
Yes.
We want you all to be successful, make a lot of money, keep buying more doors, and we all grow together. Everybody wins. That's how we always think about it.
Yep.
And, you know, we were worried for you.
Terrified.
Yeah.
I was terrified. But
so I'm glad it worked out.
Luckily, I got
agent,
good insurance agent who took care of it, even though he was out of office.
Somebody you can just send an email and they do it.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's my guy. Yes.
So, you know, I assume too, you've been able. I mean, I think getting your time back from what are relatively low value activities in property management. And if you're smart and reinvest that time into the right activities, you can really make way more money than you save. And I always talk to prospective clients about that. If they're, I'm like, first of all, you're probably not paying yourself well enough to do the job that you're trying to do, you know? So when you got that time back, what were those valuable things, those things that are the highest leverage activities for you in your business?
That's when I was able to focus and bring somebody in to help me with leads and deal acquisition. So we hired that person then. I think I hired a handyman not long after that. And I think I hired a project manager. That didn't work out, but that wasn't any, it was just other business things. So it allowed me to focus on like actually growing my business, like the business side of it, because I had all this time back that I could focus on other problems, because there's always a problem to focus on. But it allowed me to start to grow and scale a team a little better. So that's when we started to build a bigger team right after we handed over all that stuff, because I'd never been able to focus on that before.
Well, you could look for deals more. You could, you could just create more volume. You could go create more volume of the stuff that, I mean, if you spend an hour dealing with somebody's leaky toilet that you could have spent doing one more deal that makes you $50,000. That's a huge swing of things.
That is an upside. Yes, absolutely. And I liked the idea. We hired you. You saved us money. You were more efficient. And so I was like, all right, well, who else did we hire? Right? What else can I take off my plate? So that was a fun.
Well, we didn't know each other. I think it was just, I was friends with Zach Quick. You knew Zach Quick. Zach Quick knew you were buying some deals in Joplin, said we should talk. And it just all kind of
worked out.
Came to fruition from there.
It all worked out.
And we've got to be pretty good friends.
Absolutely.
We talk quite a lot about business and golf, and
mostly golf.
Play golf as often as we're both busy, but play golf as often as we can.
That is my new addiction. I don't know how new it is now. It's been like 3 years, but it's still an addiction.
Well, I grew up in it, so it's not as much of an obsession for me, but it is.
You play a lot for someone who's been golfing their entire life.
It is my only hobby. It's like I'm either working or I'm golfing. And you can't, I mean, you could work 24 hours, could work about 16 hours, waking hours a day. But I'm not sure how healthy that would be.
How many hours are you husbanding?
Probably more than I'm golfing. By a little. More than I'm golfing by a little.
Fair enough.
So going back to the business side, you chose to outsource that piece of your business. Where is that line for you where you go, I just want to hire somebody who knows how to do this thing versus I want to figure out how we do this thing in-house?
I learned a lot after we hired several team members. And what I learned was I don't necessarily want to hire somebody just because I can and it will save me time. There are things that I enjoy. And so when I hired that project manager, what I learned was that I missed operating my flips. I missed going to projects, designing and figuring out what we're going to do, and then coming back and seeing how it happened. And it just, I wanted.
So are you the interior designer on your flips?
I make a lot of design.
You do all those fancy accent walls you guys do all that stuff. That's Jess. I thought maybe Jessica had some input.
She does have input, but I do a lot of it. And so the way I look at it now is, I want to hire where I have bottlenecks that I can't fix. or that I don't want to fix. There are several bottlenecks that I don't want to fix, that I can and I just don't want to. So that's where I look to bring people in, whether that's a person or a VA. That's where I look at it as if there's a bottleneck, I either need a person, a process, or a system to fix that bottleneck. And then it's my job to figure out which one of those is the right thing to put into that place. So that's what we've been focused on. We just hired a new operations manager. She's been great because she is really good at the things that I am bad at and that I don't want to spend time doing. But I did learn there are several things that...
Is that Taz who we talked
That's
about
Taz,
today?
yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I did learn that there are several things that traditionally other real estate investors probably don't do once they get to like the level that I'm at in terms of the number of properties that I still do. And that's okay because I enjoy doing them. Like I have an acquisitions manager, but her job is to really just get to the leads that I can't get to. I love talking. Like the house I put under contract from the wholesaler, I went and walked it yesterday. I talked to the wholesaler. I walked the house. I made the offer. Like I love getting belly to belly with sellers. Like I don't want to get out of that business. At some point, maybe I will, but I just love it. So I'm going to do it. And whether that's efficient or not, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm still really like the primary salesperson, the business development person in our whole company.
Yeah.
And we manage over 2,000 rental properties and have 40 employees.
Do you do that because you like it or because you feel like you have the best opportunity to grow if you do it?
I think it's twofold. I like building relationships with guys like you that are doing this, and I like helping figure out like, okay, what's Henry's goal? What does Henry want to accomplish? How can we play a role in that? How can we help him do it? I kind of like that. And I think I close better than
You're
what
always going to close better than it. It's your business. Yeah. You're going to have a higher close rate.
And I think I believe in it so much.
Yeah.
And I care about the company so much.
It worked. You closed me. I was in.
That like
you just had to insult me, but once you did that, that was good.
You're probably getting used to that now. Now it's just on the golf course.
It's normal. Yeah.
So, of all those hires you're talking about, whether that's hiring a company, hiring a team member, what was the one that you think back to that you're like, God, I got my life back when I did that?
No, it was property management. That was for sure. I mean, I knew, like I said, after that day in Hawaii, I knew for sure I made the best decision. I hired an assistant at one point that didn't free up as much time as I thought it would. Like I said, I hired a project manager that didn't free up as much time or bring me as much money as I thought it would. And it definitely didn't bring me as much happiness as I was when I was operating the business. Having a handyman, that was super cool. I would do that again. I would bring in another handyman. I mean, you understand this business. There's like things you need a contractor for, and there's things that are just that are wasting your contractor's time. Like you need them on the bigger thing.
Or it's too expensive.
And so like, I hate pulling like they'll do it for me.
Which not even handyman are all that cheap nowadays.
They are getting more expensive. But I hated having to pull my contractor off of something that was going to make me, 50, 60 grand to go fix
a toilet for $100.
But I would have to do it. And so when I had the handyman, like that was great. So that's something I will hire again, is some sort of handyman, in-house person to do the small things that can go help my contractors on the projects when we don't have enough of that stuff. But I would do that again for sure.
You scaled pretty quickly. I mean, you started all this less than 10 years ago.
Yep.
You'd built a pretty impressive business, pretty impressive media presence. What's the one thing you would tell your younger self to skip in that process if you could go back?
That's a great question. Here's two things. A, I would tell my younger self that you're not going to feel like you can do this. And you're not going to feel like you can be good at it. And that's absolutely wrong. This is absolutely something you can do. you belong in the same rooms these other people belong in. Because I've walked into tons of rooms either with other investors or with lenders, and felt very out of place. But I had every right to be there as anybody else. And, it's just that shot of confidence I think that I needed, that I belonged in those rooms. The other thing is, gosh, I lost my train of thought because I'm getting old, but I had another point. But I'm in my 40s, so you forget stuff. But I had a lot of imposter syndrome getting started. I met with a mentor one time, and he basically talked me out of doing this. And it took my wife to talk me back into it. But I was going to stop. I was going to quit before it started. I struggled with thinking that I could do it. But after I did that first one, I was hooked. I would also tell myself that you don't have to do what you see your peers doing. And so, like, as I started to grow a presence in social media and I started to grow a portfolio, you get in rooms with other successful creators and other successful investors. And it was hard not to get on the same train. The message I would hear all the time is grow, 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 scale, 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 work on your business, not in your business, right? Like, and from a business standpoint, I understand. Like, that makes sense. The more you work on your business, the more your business can grow without you being as involved. That's literally the point of growing businesses, right? You do that, then you sell them and you do it again. I understand. But I learned the hard way through growing and scaling that, like, that's not what makes me happy. Like, I don't have a desire to grow a massive real estate investment business that flips 100 houses a year and has a 2,000 unit rental portfolio. Like, I don't want that. I thought I was supposed to grow that because that's what I saw everybody else doing. But when I sat down and thought about it, like, I don't want that. And that was another one of the turning points that made me realize I'm going to start scaling back and just paying off assets, because I don't need that big of a portfolio. I just want enough assets that gives me enough money to do the things that make my wife and I happy and our kids happy. And that's fine. So about 20 to 25 flips a year will give us the cash to be able to do that and continue to pay down some of the assets that we have. And that's fine. That's fine. I don't need to build this hands-off real estate investment company, even though that's what everybody else around me was doing. So I tell my younger self, you have to run your own race, and it's going to be hard because everybody else around you is going to be telling you what you should be doing, and you're going to see the lives that they have or see the life that they want you to think they have. It may not be the life that they actually have. And, I made a lot of business decisions that weren't what I wanted to do, but what I thought I should do.
Yeah. So what you just said, the definitions for you, that wasn't what the question was, but I like it because for me, I've always thought that the definition of success is how closely your life and your actions and your habits match the vision and the voice in your mind for what you want your life to be, right? So like if like Martin Luther King or Mother Teresa, very successful, didn't necessarily have material wealth, right? But I'm assuming that the vision they had for their life and what they wanted to accomplish and what their purpose was, that they matched it.
Yeah.
Right. And then I wonder if like that voice in your head, that the thing that's you talking to you in your head, do you have that where you have the inner monologue going in your head?
Yeah.
I've always wondered if that's like, that could be like God telling you what direction you're supposed to be going.
Yeah.
And it sounds like from what you just said that you know what success looks like for you now. And it's not necessarily bigger is always better for you.
Right. Absolutely. That was a lesson I learned in the past couple of years, and I'm definitely happier now as an entrepreneur than I was for that year when we were riding the growth scale.
Well, that's great, man. I mean, we talked about that today too. That's kind of what it's about. If you're happy, and then not a
Yeah,
whole lot else matters.
not a whole lot else matters, man. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You can do what makes you happy, even if somebody else thinks what makes you happy is silly.
One thing that I know about you since we've gotten to know each other over the last 6 years is one thing that really makes you happy is teaching other people
Yeah.
how to get started in this real estate investing journey that you feel like
Yeah.
has made your life worthwhile
Yep.
over this time. And so you built Road to the Closing Table,
Yep.
which is a coaching and mastermind
Yep.
program. And you now have live events by the same name,
Yep.
or similar name.
Similar name. Yep.
So describe that coaching program, who you help,
Yeah.
at how you help them. I know I've contributed a few times on your program, and I
Yeah.
just like the audience to understand what you do there.
Yeah. Real quick history. So I am an investor first, right? I tell people if I have to choose between investing and coaching, I'd always choose investing. I'm a good coach because I'm an active investor. I think what makes my program good is I don't do it because I don't do it because it makes me money.
Well, you're too cheap, I think. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, what are you, 6?
7.
Okay, you
Yeah.
went up a little bit. I was
Yeah.
going to say, I think last I
It was
knew you
5.
were
Yeah.
6 or 6,500 or something.
Yeah.
Most of these coaching programs that are like a lifetime deal now are double or triple that amount.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't do it for the money. I do it because I'm supposed to. I feel like ever since I did my first real estate deal, to make a very long story short, I had a panic attack. 90 days later, I bought my very first real estate deal. When I had the panic attack, I had it because I didn't know how I was going to take care of my new wife financially. I had no idea what real estate investing was. I researched it in that 90-day time frame. I took action, bought my first deal, and I was staring at a line of credit. The bank gave me a line of credit on that equity in that property that I bought to the tune of about $30,000. And so I knew almost immediately that in 90 days, I found the thing that was going to take care of my family financially for the rest of my life. I knew I had solved my financial problems, and I did it in 90 days. And I felt such an overwhelming sense of responsibility in that moment. I was happy, but I felt like there's no way God showed me how to do this in 90 days so that I could be wealthy. Like, I'm not that cool. Like, I knew almost immediately I was supposed to share what I was doing with people so that people who were in a worse financial position than me could know that there was a way they could get out of that situation through investing in real estate. They probably just have no idea that it's possible or that they can do it. I had no money and bad credit, and I figured it out in 90 days. So I knew I didn't figure it out like just because I'm so smart. I knew that I was led down that path and I was supposed to help other people. So that day is when I started my social media and I just started sharing what I was doing. So I don't teach because it makes me money. I teach because I'm supposed to be teaching. And so even if I couldn't make a dime off of teaching tomorrow, I would still find a way to help people learn how to invest in real estate because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm lucky enough to be one of the people on this planet who knows I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So that's why I teach. But my program I think it's pretty cool. I just wanted to teach people in a way where it would help them and where I didn't feel like I had to chase things all the time. Like a lot of these coaching programs, they're changing all the time because people are chasing the money. I don't chase the money. Like I built a curriculum that teaches people how to invest. When you join, you get access to that. I meet with my students every Monday night. I've been doing it for 5 years now.
And it's at like what?
7:30
I was going to say, because I
Central.
think I've joined pretty
Yep.
late on a couple of those calls when I've
Yep.
come in and talked about property management for you.
7:30 p.m. Central every Monday night, like clockwork. I rarely ever miss. Uh, uh, and it's so I get to see all my students every Monday night. I have other coaches in my community, but every coach who like teaches or hosts a call throughout the week is a student who's just been successful, and they give back through the coaching. So it's all successful students.
Is
So
Dylan one of those?
Dylan, yeah.
Yeah, I
Dylan.
thought so. He's probably got to be one of your bigger,
Oh, dude.
as far as the volume and the unit count.
He's
and,
eclipsed me. He's
he's doing a lot
great.
of doing a lot of stuff.
He's doing great, and that's
Yeah.
what you want. I want everybody to outgrow me. Like, do what you feel like you need to do.
He's just one I know, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's other similar success stories that have taken it and blown up like that.
Tons of them. I've had probably 10 different students become guests on the Bigger Pockets podcast because of the success that they've had, which is pretty stinking cool. So yeah, no, I teach them every Monday night. I'm on a call with them. They get lifetime access to the program. There's a call 5 nights a week. I do the one on Mondays, but we have other coaches that do them on the other nights of the week. I give one-on-one coaching. So I have 2 coaches who do one-on-ones with my students at unlimited one-on-one access. Like, I just try to offer things that most people probably don't offer, because I want to be able to teach you in whatever way you learn. Some people learn in a one-on-one environment instead of a group. We've got that. Some people learn through taking courses online. We got that. Some people learn through the actual conversations you have throughout the week. We've got that too. And then we've got an online community where they can talk to each other. So I've got students all across the country. They meet up with each other randomly in different places. It's pretty cool, man. It's cool to be able to.
I've got to meet a lot of your students over the years, just from different events and different stuff. And
I love it, man. I love it. I love it. I get more pumped up when they get a deal than when I do.
And they all seem to love you. So that's
I love it, man. I love it. I want to create a community of like heart-driven investors, people who aren't doing this just for money, but are doing this because of the impact they get to have on other people. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of curating that environment. And when you have a bunch of heart-driven people in a space, they just naturally help each other and take care of each other and love on each other and grow together. And it's just cool to be able to watch. So like when I did my first in-person event in Dallas, just a couple of weeks ago, or like 2 weeks ago, like seeing all of my students come together in one place and meet each other for the first time. I joked with them. I'm like, it's cool, right? You get to see everybody's legs. Is all you do is see heads on a Zoom. And so like they're all just meeting and talking and partnering now on deals. And it was super special. So I'm going to continue to do that. At least.
I think it's great, man. Yeah. And like I said, maybe too cheap. Maybe raise your price.
I hear that all the time.
Giving all your students your cell phone number. That's
all my students do have my cell phone.
Yeah, that's a lot. They have to pay me more than that.
I get it. Again, I just do it because I feel like I'm supposed to. But yeah, they all have my cell phone number. They get to talk to me. I used to do the sales calls myself when people would join the community or want to join the community. And sometimes they'd ask me, well, like, why should I join your program versus joining somebody else's program? And I was like, all right, here's the thing. If you're looking at joining my program or somebody else's program, did you talk to somebody else about their program? Well, we talked to their team. Cool. Who are you talking to right now? I'm talking to you. Well, that's probably a big difference.
That's why you're better closer. We just talked about that. When you're the owner and you believe in it, you're a better closer.
You're a better closer. Yep.
So I've always felt like providing homes for people is like a really important responsibility in the world.
I agree.
And you talk about it like it's purpose, mission, and like you do it to add value to society.
Yep.
And I have always felt that way about what we do too. But there's kind of this pervasive attitude out there in the world nowadays that like we're housing exploiters,
yeah.
and we're like stealing
Hoarding
from
houses.
people, and we're hoarding houses
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And it's like, really, don't you guys, some of you guys want to rent houses,
Right.
you
Lots of
know,
people want to.
some of you guys want to buy the house after we already fixed it up. That you don't have to buy these things from us. You don't have to rent these things from us.
Yep.
You could go buy it yourself.
Yep. I always tell people, like, however you feel about landlords owning houses doesn't matter. And why it doesn't matter is because we live in a country where the normal person gets to own homes. Okay. So regardless of how you feel about it, normal everyday people get to own homes. Don't you want those people to be good people with good hearts who go and buy homes, fix them up, and provide housing to a community? Because regardless of how you feel about it, normal people get to do it. And if good-hearted people don't do it, then assholes do it. And if assholes do it, then that just makes the problem worse. So you want me to buy houses. Like you want me and my students and people like me and people like you to do this because we care about more than just the money, and we care about the community, and we care about the quality of product that we put out, and we care about who is living in them. Like one of the other things, I didn't tell you this when you asked, but one of the other things that sold me on working with you is because you don't call your tenants tenants, because there's such a negative connotation with that term. It's almost like it's tenant is below landlord.
And there's like hatred between like a tenant and a landlord before the relationship even starts.
Yeah.
And it's always bothered me.
Yep.
And that's really why we built the business we built, and why we continue to scale it and grow it, is because we think we're going to be able to turn that perception around over time.
I love that you called them residents. I love that you tried to make sure that they feel valued in this, because the truth of the matter is such a weird dynamic between landlords and tenants. A lot of landlords look down on tenants, a lot of tenants look down on landlords, but the truth of the matter is we don't have a business without them. They are the customer.
They're your customer.
That is, and in any other customer service relationship, you treat the customer as such, as someone you're providing a service to, as someone who you bend over backwards to make sure that they're taken care of, except with landlords and tenants. It's the opposite. We expect them and treat them the opposite of that. But if you do that, you won't have a business. You won't have a business that produces income. And so, like, I want my tenants to be happy. I want my tenants to love where they live. I want my tenants to care about the home that they live in.
There are sometimes customers in every business, though, that are irrational.
Always.
And
there's always going to
you can't, as a landlord, always give them everything they want, no matter what that thing that they want is.
Yep.
But
there's a way to handle things.
Yes.
Appropriately.
Yeah.
I don't feel like enough landlords treat tenants like customers and provide them proper customer service. And I feel like there's a big gap to be filled there.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to build too, is trying to build something that is a seamless, frictionless, and an experience that actually delights the customer, not just that they deal with.
Yep.
You know, which I feel like that's the way housing has been for 1,000 years.
Yep. Absolutely.
You know, so that's kind of a big philosophical conversation. I've got one more big philosophical question for you.
Let's do it.
And then I've got a few rapid fire questions to finish this up.
Let's do it.
So the big philosophical question is, you have passed away, and you're looking down on your funeral and all your friends. I'm a few years younger than me, so probably me there talking to people at your funeral.
Yeah.
What do you hope people say about you and think about you after you're gone?
Yep. I've learned through business, I've learned the life lesson that everything we do is for other people. Like everything we do on this planet is not to be self-serving. Like I truly feel like we are all here to help other people in some way, shape, form, or fashion. So I hope that at my funeral, people remember me as someone who cared about people more than money, who tried to leave everything that he touched better than he found it, and that he tried to bring as many people as he could with him. Right. Like I tease all my friends. I'm like, I've got one friend who I haven't gotten to do a real estate deal. One friend. I was like, everybody else that's been close to me, I've gotten them to do a deal just because it's such a powerful tool. But I just want to bring as many people with me as I can. And so if that's what's said about me, then I know I've done things right.
That'd be okay.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Okay, so now the fun stuff.
Yep.
Quick.
Yep.
So in one sentence, describe your golf game and then describe my golf game.
Today, your golf game today?
Just in general.
In one sentence, my golf game is a work in progress. With emphasis on the work and not so much on the progress.
I disagree, man. You were hitting the ball so much better today than you were.
I'm getting better for sure.
Yeah.
Your golf game is incredibly impressive. Even when you hit bad shots, your recovery shots have been pretty cool. You hit a pretty good one today from the side of a tree. That was pretty awesome. I didn't think you were gonna pull it off, but you pulled it off pretty good.
Unfortunately, today off the tee, I was by quite a few trees.
You found yourself in situations where you got to work on your recovery shots today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did well. You did well working on your recovery shots.
Today was a little tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, one sentence: best deal, worst deal.
Best deal I ever bought was 4 duplexes for $250,000. Worst deal I ever bought was a flip in a rural market with a weird layout, and I should have known better.
Okay, so we both operate in real estate space in Northwest Arkansas.
Yep.
So pitch me the Northwest Arkansas market in 30 seconds or less. Your Northwest Arkansas elevator pitch.
Tyler, do you like cash flow?
I do.
Tyler, do you like appreciation?
I do.
Do you want to invest in a market where you can get cash flow and appreciation?
Yeah.
Do you want it to be affordable?
Yeah.
Okay, you should invest in Northwest Arkansas.
Oh, I think it's an awesome place to
It's
invest.
such a great market. It's rarely do you find real estate markets where you can get cash flow and above average appreciation and it be affordable. Like it hits all three. It's pretty.
Well, I would, real estate value tends to follow incomes in the area. And what I like about Northwest Arkansas is I don't think incomes are going down or disappearing anytime in the near future because of the drivers of investment from the Walton family, Walmart, JB Hunt, Tyson Foods. That's some huge, very multinational corporations all headquartered in this one small area.
It insulates the market from a lot of the ups and downs of other real estate markets. And those businesses you mentioned are amazing, not just because they're amazing businesses, but because they're recession-proof businesses. When things are bad economically, those companies all
people still need food to eat.
They still need food to eat. They still got to get the food from the source to the stores, and they still need to sell it at a low price. Less people shop at Target and shop at Walmart when things aren't going well. I mean, more people shop at Walmart than Target when the market's bad. So not only are they amazing companies, but they do even better when things are uncertain.
I agree with that. And also the cool thing is the families that are run or started or control those corporations, even though they are huge corporations.
They're all local.
Those families are local people. They care about that community, and they are dumping billions, not millions, billions of dollars back into that community every year.
It's true. It's absolutely true. I'd never thought about that, but I have literally met several of the Tysons. I've met several Waltons, and I've met several Hunts.
You will never find another city in America with as many ultra wealthy, ultra
Billionaires
successful
just walking around.
people
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
care about the community and want it to be better.
Yep.
That's a very rare
Yep.
mix.
I agree.
And they're bringing cool, interesting sports, entertainment,
Yeah.
art, science, medicine,
Yep.
all these different things to that area that I think just have to be long-term tailwinds
Yep.
there.
I agree.
Okay, so the last thing I want you to do is I want you, if anybody in the audience out there is interested in working with Henry in some capacity,
Yeah.
so if you're wanting help getting started in real estate investing,
Yep.
you're wanting to maybe attend a cool real estate networking event that's kind of a good launching point for learning how to invest in real estate. If you are maybe wanting to invest or partner with a real estate operator rather than invest yourself, tell the audience how they can get in touch with you, how they
Yep.
can work with you. Or maybe if you're looking to sell a property in the Northwest Arkansas market, that might
I
be
do
another.
have some properties for sale. The best way to get hold of me is on Instagram. I'm at the Henry Washington on Instagram, or you can go to my website. It's www.seeyouattheclosingtable.com, all spelled out.
Well, Henry, I really appreciate you joining us. I was really looking forward to this conversation. And that's a wrap for episode 14 of the Ideas and Capital Show.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. Always happy to be here. Thank you, buddy.